Hey, Riddle here. I'm in my new white room. It's a room that's white. So I have a story to tell you. And I'm not judging this, but it's definitely one of those, as I call the big think. So I was at the dollar store and my cashier was a young lady, probably in her late teens, early 20s. And somehow we got on the subject of backpacks and her wanting to fortify her backpack so that it couldn't be, she couldn't be pickpocketed, which I understand from traveling. And what's interesting about pickpockets, and people who do that, it's like a career for some of them. I frequent Paris, and it was really funny because I was prepared when I went to Paris, and all my coats were very tight with really good binding buttons and zippers, so I couldn't get pickpocketed. And I was out on a date near the Notre Dame, and this gypsy older guy comes up and he pretends like he's drunk and he's falling on me and he's like trying to get into my pockets, and I'm standing there and I'm with my date and I'm laughing, looking down going, this guy's trying to pickpocket me. It was so obvious and such a sad thing. But even with that, I had this weird empathy, and it was kind of so obvious, it was sad and ridiculous. And I thought, how fortunate am I that I don't have to do that for a living? That's where the empathy comes in. And people say they're religious or spiritual, but I don't believe that if you can't have real empathy and understanding for people, even when they're doing something bad. So I went back like a year later, and the same guy was there working his territory. So I realized it's a career. It's the best you can do. I don't know. I was like, hey, Pickpocket Joe. So back to the dollar store. So the young lady and I are having this conversation about her backpack and wanting to fortify it. And all of a sudden, this man behind me chimes up. And I turn around, and here's this man. He's probably about 5'8", probably about 300. So he was obese, and he was dressed, you could tell he was working for the electric company, power lines, more that section of it, and division of it. And he had a mullet, which I'm rocking a pretty crazy mullet right now because they're trending, and I thought it'd be funny to have one. And he says, well, if you were where I was from, Texas, you just shoot that bastard. And so he was basically telling this young lady who is, of course, has grown up in one of the most liberal parts of the country, that it'd be a great idea, or if, we just had a gun law here, that she could carry a gun, and then if someone tries to pickpocket her, she could just shoot them and kill them, because, that's the kind of world we all want to live in, the wild, wild west. Even when your life's not being threatened, just kill. Now, the irony was, not only was this guy, physically didn't look like he took real good care of himself, and he was so proud that he could carry a gun anywhere he went and shoot to defend himself or his belongings. But this is the part that really got to me. He had a giant crucifix on, like a big, obscene, I'm a Christian crucifix. It just screamed of what we've gone through the past 4 years. People whose religion and beliefs don't line up with biblical teachings, Christian teachings, and principles, like the basic principles of Christ and the Bible. And I'm not a Christian, but how can you wear this huge symbol like I'm a Christian and I'm a killer? People need to think and feel, maybe think less, feel more. And I didn't have the time to converse with this man and question him about how he could be Christian and so easily turn to violence as his first mode of a solution. But I'll just leave it at that. That's my story.